What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Platinum. In the last episode, we had the dreaded underground explanation episode, as well as moving around Eterna, taking care of a few things. It was kind of a short episode, but it was an episode that I had been dreading since the start of this playthrough. But now that that's finally out of the way, we can proceed. So today, we are going to be taking on the Eterna City Gym. We need to do this because there's a few things that are still locked out to us. Mainly, we need to have Cut to be able to do those things, and if we want to actually use Cut, well, we need to actually beat this gym. So let's start by talking to this guy. Hey there, how's it going, Champ to be? Actually, that's what I said to some boy who zipped in here earlier, too. Gym Leader Gardenia is a user of Grass-type Pokemon. It should be obvious, but Grass-type Pokemon really hate Fire. They're also at a huge disadvantage against the Flying-type, too. Oh, wait a second, I should tell you about the gym itself first. You can't challenge the gym leader unless you beat all of its trainers. It's a bit challenging, but just think of it as good training and go for it. Now, there's only 3 trainers in this gym, which isn't too bad. I do like, though, that you can't just walk in their sightlines. You have to walk up to them in battle, which is like, I'd be doing that anyway, to be honest. But yeah, it's grass types, which I'll say this right now. If you are running with Turtwig or Piplup for this playthrough, this is going to be the gym that usually kicks your ass the most because it is actually quite a difficulty leap, at least for the gym leader herself. The trainers in here really are not so bad. They're kind of pushovers, but the gym leader, man, she's got some brutal Pokemon on her team. And, yeah, we just happen to have the perfect setup, so I'm probably going to make this entire gym look like a breeze, which is not... I think it's not indicative of how this normally is. Like, don't get me wrong, if you have, like, Piplup or Turtwig and then just a flying type or something along those lines, it can get the job done, but it's a lot easier if you actually have 2 Pokemon that are strong against grass types and not just one, because sometimes that's just not enough. So the way this gym works is that you can only access certain areas as the clock moves around, so we'll have access to the 3 o'clock next, the 9 o'clock last, and finally 12 o'clock at the end, as this goes all the way around. I love that the hour hand had to point this way and not the minute hand, so that the clock would just take longer to get all the way here, but whatever. Okay, on to the next one. So yeah, we're just going to use Goja and Era, and we're not going to have really too much problems in here. The only problem is that I can't use any of my time to level up Helena at all, which sucks, but that's okay. Like I said, this is a really easy gym. In fact, I think after I knock this Badoo out, I will switch on over to Era so she can get some licks in. But the gym leader herself is a bit of a different story because of 2 of her 3 Pokemon. And actually, even the third one can be a little bit of a problem due to its setup potential. But we'll talk about that when we actually get to it. But at least for right now, this is a breeze. Now, of course, we're not only trying to get Cut just so that we can take care of some previous things in the game. We need it to get into the Team Galactic building, which is still waiting for us up at the north end of Eterna City. We also know that's where the bike shop owner has run off to. And I want a bike. I really want a bike, not just so that I can explore some earlier areas that we weren't able to go all the way through because we didn't have the bike, like in Oreburgh Gates basement. But also because there's an area that we actually haven't seen yet, but we have gone past it that I really want to double back to, because I'm hoping here in about 2 or 3 episodes we can add our 4th team member. And this is going to be a very different team member than what I normally use in a playthrough like this. But generally, okay. So I've already talked about how I'm not going to be using Leafeon or Glaceon in this playthrough, and I do like using my evolutions, but I haven't done that since Gen 2, for starters. And also, because I'm not doing it this time, I want to pick something else that's going to have a similar effect as the evolutions, because remember, the evolutions have really, really good base stats. But obviously, the benefit to picking up an Eevee is that you can really go with any gap in type advantage that you're missing on your team. Oh my gosh, please stop wasting my Paralyze heals, I beg of you. So I want to go with something a little bit different that's going to sort of fill the same niche, but, obviously the same. Now, it's obviously I don't have to go with Glaceon or Leafeon just because it's Sinnoh. I could also go with any of the others, like Espeon or Umbreon or Flareon or Vaporeon or Jolteon, but I don't want to. I want to go with something that's a little bit more versatile than even those guys. So there's your little hint for what the 4th team member is going to be. We should be able to take advantage of it relatively soon, but we have to get through the Team Galactic headquarters. Now, I'm not too worried about this gym just because of the way my team's set up, but the Galactic headquarters, there is actually a fight in there I'm kind of worried about, and I remember having quite a bit of trouble with if I'm not actually prepared for it. So we're going to be taking things with a little bit of a different approach from here on out. I'm going to put Helena kind of just squarely on the back burner for a while until we get back to another area where we can just fight trainers en masse, because I really want Gyoja to get most of the focus here for the next little while, because I'm going to need him to be at his best for some of the upcoming fights. But, all right, Roma Lady Angela. Oh, this is an easy one right here. Just a flame wheel and we're done. And this should put Gyoja at level 21. It's also the last fight here in the gym before the gym leader, which is awesome. There we go. Down goes Roselia. And I want to say Gyoja is going to learn another move at level 23 or 24 or something along those lines. Wow, that was a lot of additional experience too. Okay, so let's talk about the gym leader here. So there is a specific setup to what you're gonna, what Gardenia is going to be pulling off here. And you're going to want to make sure that you preempt it. Otherwise, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, if you have a fire type, you can pretty much circumvent it entirely. So I will be able to do that. But it can cause a lot of issues if you're running with literally anything else. Even a flying type isn't going to handle this super well. So let's run over and say hello. You kept me waiting. I'm Eterna's Gym Leader Gardenia, the Grass type Master. When I first saw you, I was convinced you'd find your way to me. My hunch was right on the money. You have a winning aura about you. So anyway, this will be fun. Let's have our battle. All right. Gardenia, the grass-type user, is also going to be running with 3 Pokemon, just like with Rourke, except she is only going to have 1 Pokemon that is not fully evolved. Her first one is going to be Turtwig, and this is the setup Pokemon. It's running with Grass Knot, Razor Leaf, Sunny Day, and Reflect. Now, Sunny Day and Reflect are both things you need to watch out for. Now, of course, Sunny Day does boost the power of Fire-type moves, and if you lead with a Fire-type, it's more than likely going to dissuade her from using it. And you want to do that, although we'll see. Yep, you want to do that because if it gets Sunny Day off, it really boosts the power of her second Pokemon, which isn't even the strongest one. The strongest one, obviously, being her signature one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it looks like we will be able to dissuade this thing, no problem. It's also not going to get its Reflect off in time, and I also got her to waste her only potion and burned the Turtwig for good measure, so this is going great so far. All right, let's just finish this thing off with a Mach Punch. And there we go. All right, easy one down with no setup in play. She's going to bring out her second or third? Her second. Yep. Okay, so this is the Pokemon that was going to be an issue if Sunny Day was in play, because if it had Flower Gift going, it was going to be a whole lot stronger. But as it stands, it's really not too difficult to deal with. It has Grass Knot, Magical Leaf, Leech Seed, and Safeguard. Leech Seed can be a force switch, and Safeguard obviously keeps you from doing things like paralysis. So I am going to be switching after this Cherrim goes down to deal with the last Pokemon, because yeah, I really do not want to deal with Leech Seed the entire time I'm fighting her strongest Pokemon. So let's knock this thing out, and then we'll switch. There we go. Yeah, the Cherrim can be a bit of an issue and has definitely mopped the floor with me in past playthroughs, but this time I am more than prepared for it. But her last Pokemon, this is the one to watch out for. That's right, she doesn't have a Roselia, she has a Roserade, and this thing is brutal. Do I want to go with just straight to Era and do damage, or do I want to try to go and Paralyze? I think I'm going to go Paralyze, because Roserade has Natural Cure on it, but it can't switch to actually activate that, so that Stun Spore is going to be in play the entire time. This thing has Grass Knot, Magical Leaf, Poison Sting, and Stun Spore, so it can't really do a whole lot of damage to my Badoo, which is good, and also I can get some experience for her. Now, is it going to cause Poison first or Paralysis first? That is the question. Guess we'll find out, but I'm going to cause Paralysis first, which is good for me. But I am not going to obviously use Mega Drain on this thing, because that would be stupid. We are going to do a swap now. Let's move on over to Era, so she can get some experience out of this. But yeah, Roserade, very powerful Pokemon, super high special attack, super high special defense. This thing can be brutal if you're not prepared for it. But I, for the most part, am. I'm going to do some Paraflinching here, and I can't believe that didn't work. Okay. Paraflinch is really nice because it's a 70% of one or the other if you use it correctly, but I guess that 70% was not in my favor, so let's use another Paralyze Heal. Now, this Roserade is also packing a Citrus Berry, which heals 30 HP once it goes below a certain threshold of health, below 50% basically. But I don't have to worry about Grass Knot with Drifloon because it doesn't really have... Wow, that was a lot of damage. It doesn't really have any weight to it, so I just have to worry about Magical Leaf, which, I mean, if it's going to crit like that, that's obviously going to cause me some problems. Oh my gosh, is Paraflinch going to work at all? I cannot believe my complete lack of luck right now. Please, I'm begging you. One more. If I have to switch on over to Gyoja, I will. Or I'll literally just let Era faint over this if she can't cut it. Oh my gosh, dude, this thing just doesn't care about paralysis. It just shakes it off like it's nothing. Golly. All right, come on, Era. I believe in you. Let's get going. I know I could be using Gust right now, but it's not nearly enough damage. Dude, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. 3 times I activated Paraflinch and nothing happened. Wow. That is just insane. I have such horrible luck sometimes. My goodness. All right, well, off to Gyoja. Let's just Flame Wheel this sucker, especially since it doesn't have Poison Point. You gotta be kidding me, man. That was ridiculous. All right, well, I should go down anyway. Awesome Pokemon, but also super annoying to fight. And this is why I want one on my own team. Good experience for Gyoja, good for Helena, and we have defeated Leader Gardenia. Amazing, you're very good, aren't you? Well, thank you for the compliment, but... Might have said it before, but you're really tough. Wasn't it hard for you to raise your Pokemon to be so good? I guess that's a measure of how much you love your Pokemon. In recognition of that, I proudly grant you this. Awesome! With the Forest Badge, your Pokemon can use the hidden move Cut outside of battle. Now that you have 2 gym badges, all Pokemon you receive in trades will obey you up to level 30. I've also got something else that's a gift from me, and we got TM86, which I do believe contains Grass Knot, the one move that all 3 of her Pokemon had. Some of my favorite moves, the heavier the foe, the more damage this move will cause. Okay, let's talk about Grass Knot for a second. So, Grass Knot, like she says, it's scaled up based on the weight of a Pokemon. So something like a Steelix or an Onix or a Snorlax or a Wailord is going to take a ton of damage from Grass Knot. But most of the Pokemon you fight really early on, because almost all pre-evolved Pokemon are under 40 pounds, Grass Knot is not very effective on them at all, even if it is quote-unquote super effective. It's just not a super strong move in that regard. Plus, Grass Knot is actually an extremely versatile grass move that a lot of non-grass types can learn. I do not want to give it to Budew for that exact reason, because that would be a little bit redundant, and I would certainly be replacing it later with something better. So instead, I'm going to see if either of my 2 team members can learn it, but probably not. Maybe Drifloon can? Let's see. Okay. Is it possible? Oh, Gyoja can, but it's a special attack, so I am probably going to say no to that. And then we're just going to move on, only because it's a one-time use. If it was like Gen 5, where TMs were unlimited use, that'd be a little bit of a different story. I wouldn't be afraid to teach it to him, but in this case, I do not want to. All right, so here's the Team Galactic building. We'll head inside in a second. I'm just going to run over here. There's an item over to the right, and is there one to the left path as well? I'm going to go check that. I think there's a hidden item over there. But there is for sure this, TM46 Thief, base power of 40, dark type, and steals the held item from Pokemon holding it. I think only Drifloon can learn it, so I'm not going to bother with that one as of right now, especially since she already has payback. Hello? Hello, it is me. Haha, I have startled you, yes? I am, after all, an officer of the International Police. It is only natural that I be a master of disguise. Incidentally, you are a first-rate trainer. Of that, I am very aware. I therefore think you will be okay, but I must warn you to be careful anyway. Also, a word of advice. This building, it has 2 stairs. One of them, a trap it must be. But the crooks of Team Galactic, they do not appear, how shall I say, smart. There should be an easy way to tell the stairs apart. There's an extremely easy way, okay? You see, over by the stairs, you got this stairs here, and then another one over here that has a plaque next to it. This right here tells you where you're supposed to go. It's like way too obvious, but also kind of hilarious how obvious it is. So you got a few people over here that you can talk to. I have to bring the pain like we did the cycle shop. Okay, whatever. But I am going to be taking the alternate paths first, because these are going to lead to various items. Now, like I said, I'm going to be focusing on using Gyoja as much as I can as I go through here, because there is a fight at the end of this place that is pretty brutal. But obviously, we're not going to get through this entire building in this episode. It's going to take a couple to get through. Well, a couple. The next episode, we should be done with this place. So let's go. All right. So I'm going to mostly use, just kind of avoiding using Budew right now, just because she is not really going to be handling most of these Pokemon super well. Use Payback on you, just because it is a little extra damage. Rock Tomb should be knocking out these Zubat no problem. The faster we can get through these fights, the better. And both of these trainers obviously have 2 Pokemon, so that does make it a little tricky. There we go. Payback. Let's see how much that does. If that's enough, I can just let you kind of focus on that one. Not ideal, not ideal. It depends on what the other one is, the other Pokemon is, and it is Glameow. Okay, I'll let Era focus on the Zubat. We'll just kind of make sure that this Pokemon over here on the left is completely knocked out, and then we can double team the remainders. I'll just use Astonish then in that case. Can we one-shot this Glameow with Mach Punch? Yes! Beautiful. That is what I like to see. And I definitely am going to be leaving this place to go hit the Pokemon Center Hub before a certain fight, because, yeah, it's... I don't know why. I have memories of this place being super, super brutal, and I know in my last playthrough, I actually struggled in here quite a bit. It's one of the toughest Team Galactic locations in the entire game, and then, honestly, after that, they get really easy, but... There's a little bit of a difficulty jump here. It's even harder than the gym leader themselves, so... Don't know how that works. Okay, now we got Stunky. And you are going to be getting a Flame Wheel, Mr. Fartface. Listen, I actually think Stunky is super cute, but the whole face being a butt design choice is just... Okay, it's too much. It's too much. Y'all could have been a little bit more subtle about it. On top of making its freaking noise a fart noise when it comes out and comes out of its Pokeball. Whatever. All right. Up to the next floor, there is going to be an item up here as well as another trainer, I think. Yep. I guess I didn't have to battle them, but like I said, I'm not leaving any experience on the table under any circumstances. I want this experience. And if I clear this place out, I do believe all of the Galactic Grunts are going to leave, and you won't have another chance to fight them. Oh, we're going to get a Krogunk to start here. Okay. I did not mean to use Scratch, but honestly, better than Rock Tomb or Mach Punch. Hopefully, my Flame Wheel just takes this thing down outright. Really quickly. It's Poison and Fighting typing. If you had a Psychic type here, that would be ideal, obviously, but I do not. And down you go. Okay, not bad. That should push Goja to level 23. I think he learns a move here. No, not quite. Okay, maybe it's another level or two away. But we'll take it. I want to say he learns another fighting move somewhat soon. I could be completely just talking out of my ass, though, if I'm being honest. All right, that covers the first alternate route here in the Team Galactic HQ building. Now we're going to head up these stairs, and right up here, I am going to call this an episode, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode very, very much. In the next episode, we should finish off this building in its entirety. I will see you all in the next one.